What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. This is part 2 of our two-part series of If You Were the Coach. So, if hindi namin napag-usapan yung team nyo in the first part, we'll definitely cover your team here in the second part. So, once again, just to be clear, we're doing this back-to-back. So, pareho lang suot namin, ha? Just para naman malinaw sa mga taong nanonood
Happy Father's Day to
ng
everyone.
ano
Happy
natin.
Father's Day to
Happy Father's
everyone.
Day, by
Oo
the
nga,
way.
hindi
We're
natin sinabi
recording this
kanina.
on
Happy
Father's
Father's Day.
Oo nga, belated Happy Father's Day kasi hindi na nila tumakuha ng Sunday night. So let's get started. You're familiar with if you're the coach. We'll do round robin. We'll go through the teams alphabetically. So since this is part 2, we're going to start with the NU Bulldogs. Maui, let's start with you.
Yeah, if I were the coach, if I were Coach Jeff Napa, I would decide who my FSA is. I think that's the biggest question for NU. I think it's one of the reasons why they've also been inconsistent, diba? Sa Pinoy Liga and sa Philoil, they've been playing two FSAs that they should choose one because you can only field one. I think that's very important. Nothing against Omar John, nothing against Modi Asana. But if I were the coach, I would act, this is a surprise. Baka magulat ng dalawang kasama ko. I would actually choose Omar John for season 87.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Whoa! Okay,
Oh, so
okay.
What?
Shout out to
Omar,
Omar John. Shout out to Omar John. Nagko-comment yan.
Diba? So you comment in our podcast, we give you shit, but I would choose you for season 87. And the main reason why is because you have experience. You've been with the NU, you've been playing the UAAP for the past 3 seasons. I think this is gonna be Omar John's 3rd season. I would choose Omar John over Modi Asana at the moment because they lost Kian Baklaan. I think yun yung one of the main reasons. You cannot have two positions. For you to be a contending team, you have to have stability. And I think if you've been watching our podcast from the start, two of the most important positions in the UAAP or in basketball, for that matter, is the point guard and the center slot. Diba? Right now, I would choose Omar John because I don't know if Rene Dumamoy, I don't know if Tebol Garcia, whoever is starting, I don't think it's going to be Steve Nash. I think it's going to be one of the two. Whoever is starting, I don't know if they're going to be consistent for this season. We've seen Reynard Humamoy's potential. We've seen Tebol Garcia being very steady this offseason. I think that they have to go with the consistent one. They have to go with somebody who's tried and tested. Fortunately for Omar John, si Malik Diouf is not going to be playing for UP this coming season. Unfortunately for Omar John, he has struggled a ton, versus Henry Agunane, who is the best FSA for this season. But I think you have to roll the dice and go with Omar John. I think he can go toe-to-toe with any other FSA in the UAAP, except probably Henry Agunane. I think they have to prioritize yung stability. I think they have to go with somebody who's been with the team, somebody who could be a leader for this coming season. You cannot put everything on the hands of Jake Figueroa and Steve Nash. I think there has to be a combination of veterans and new players for NU to be able to get to the next step. I think that Modi Asana has a higher ceiling. I think that I've been very clear about that with our previous episodes. But I think for NU to be able to compete at the highest level come season 87, I think it has to be Omar John because I think that they have to have that stability. But the main thing for me really is they have to choose who their FSA is. We're 3 months away from the season, and we still don't know who's going to be the FSA. I think that could be a detriment to the team. Maybe it's why Omar John has been playing inconsistent. Maybe the Asana breathing in his back has made them play with inconsistency. For them to be able to build that consistency for season 87, I think they have to choose that FSA as quick as possible. I think we've seen that NU has been very inconsistent this offseason, being one of the top contenders, getting to the finals sa Pinoy Liga and then struggling very hard sa Pinoy Liga. So that's me, Sam Gab.
I'm curious to hear what our listeners actually have to say with regards to the FSA situation sa NU. So if we have NU fans out there, sinong gusto nyo, Omar John, Diasana, from what you've seen, comment them down below. But I'm surprised, but I see where you're coming from. And Omar John is a lot bigger, no? So he can match up better with the other FSAs. Gab, anything you want to add?
Okay, if I were Coach Jeff Napa, I would actually shorten my fuse, no, lengthen my fuse a bit, and not pull the plug immediately on his players, because I think that's one of the reasons
I
why
agree.
a lot of his players struggle. A lot of his players don't get the requisite number of reps because he has such a short fuse, diba? You see it all the time since he's 84. You make a mistake, you're out. That's Coach Jeff Napa. If you've been following NU basketball in the seniors division, you know this is how Coach Jeff Napa runs a team. Very deep rotation. If you make a mistake, you're pulled immediately. I think it's only si Jake Figueroa and si Kian Baclan who I've seen medyo mahaba yung fuse niya for those two. But for the rest, sobrang short ng fuse ni Coach Jeff eh. And I think it shows on the court with how a lot of his rotation guys play. Very tentative at times ang mga NU players to create their own offense. They always stay disciplined, run through the system. They never try to go and play one-on-one, try to take risks. It rarely happens with the NU team. However, for this coming season, I think he should let his players take more risk, just to imbue them with more confidence and more experience. Because I mentioned this before, they struggle on offense. Let's say it. They're always a pretty good defensive team, but they struggle a lot on offense. They struggle to score. And they've had Kian Baclaan to bail them out in the past couple of seasons. But now they don't have Kian Baclaan. They need to rely on they're going to rely heavily on Jake Figueroa, but they need to rely on more than just Jake Figueroa. And don't get me wrong, they have a ton of talented offensive players on their team. It's just that some of these guys sort of are not aggressive at times. And and I think that's a function of how Coach Jeff Napa coaches. Na they're scared to be aggressive and make a mistake, so they don't. And for me, that's not the way to go. I think if he wants to go far, talagang to be a contender, that's always the question with NU. They're a good team. We've seen them fight for number one in the standings, but we've never seen them completely become a contender and make the finals. Just fight with a UP, fight with a LaSalle, just to make it to a finals. And for me, for them to do that, aside from deciding the FSA, but I don't agree with Maui. I think it should be Yumo Diasana. But again, that's another conversation. But for me talaga, he needs to let his players play a bit more. Their game, let them be more aggressive, let them take risks. Reinhard Humamoy, I think we've seen enough of Reinhard Humamoy that we know that let him play one-on-one. He can create plays. He can make shots. He can score at will. We've seen so many times in the preseason, he could get hot. He can just score 10 straight points all on his own just because he takes risks on his offense. He's more aggressive. You're looking for his shot. Same with Tebol Garcia. I think that Tebol Garcia can be a pretty good scorer in the seniors division. I see it. He can just get to his spot. He's so good at it. But with Coach Jeff Napa, parang tentative siya at times to be aggressive eh. So yun ako para sa akin, that's my main thing. Again, much like what I said the previous episode with Coach Tab, this is highly unlikely because we know who Jeff Napa is and change is hard for coaches. But this is like a 10 or 5% chance of this happening, that Coach Jeff Napa will suddenly become a more lenient coach. We've seen Coach Jeff Napa for years now. He's not that. But sana, for me, same thing with si PJ Palacelo. If if he's free to create offense, we've seen him become a beast on offense. But since he's very tentative, scared to go to the bench, he doesn't do as much. He doesn't become too aggressive. Sammy or Maui.
Yeah, I was gonna say, muntik na ako ma-disappoint sa'yo eh. Kasi ang haba na nung sinabi mo about NU, hindi mo pa minimension si PJ Palacielo. So buti na lang nahabol mo nung dulo yung PJ Palacielo. I was waiting for that. But I guess before I proceed, Maui ba may gusto ka i-add?
Yeah, I agree with Gab. I think it's part of developing players, diba? Making them make mistakes and them really adjusting to their mistakes, diba? You cannot be yourself, especially if you're a player like Reynard Humamoy, if your coach doesn't give you the chance, diba? I hope that Humamoy eventually gets that same treatment as Figueroa and Baclan has been able to afford in the past. He's a very special player. I think yung ceiling niya is very high from what I've seen, and he's very explosive. Yun lang.
Yeah, so for me, if I'm Coach Jeff Napa, I'm really investing in guards this coming season. Losing Kian Baclaan is a big thing. In the past few seasons, whenever they didn't have their offense going, Kian Baclaan would always come in and save them. I know Jake Figueroa is that go-to guy now. We also like what we're seeing from PJ Palacielo, but as Maui mentioned, etong guards nila ang may potential, 'di ba? Si nakalimutan ko tuloy pangalan niya. Was an MVP.
Table,
I think
Humamoy.
MVP. Humamoy was MVP or MVP contender
Finals
in
MVP,
high
I think.
school. Finals MVP 'yun pala. In high school, and then Tebol Garcia is a very, very solid guard in high school and a crucial player in the Adamson Championship. Second year, and they're in Humamoy is in his second year, Tebol Garcia is in his rookie year. So there are growing pains, but I think he has to invest in the future. I think these two guys are a big part of their future. So we need to see more from them, and he needs to develop. They definitely will be a crucial part of the team. So he needs to develop them more in the next 3 months. We've seen some flash from both players nung preseason, so that's a good sign. But I think in the next 3 months, he needs to focus on that. It can't just be Jake Figueroa every time, or just relying on PJ Palacielo, Gab's favorite, obviously. But I also want to add something, diba? Ang theme ko is investing in the future. If I'm Coach Napa, I'd be looking at the Adamson high school players na nabanggit ni Gab in the previous episode. Si Pomelo Ball. Kasi may etong NU, mahilig to kumuha sa Adamson eh. We were just talking about Nick Figueroa, MVP of Adamson, high school. And then this season, he got si Tebol Garcia at si Vince Reyes from high school. So sino na yung part of that future core that he will be building with Humamoy, Tebol Garcia, Vince Reyes? May makukuha pa ba siya sa Adamson? We'll see, di ba? But I think he has to also...
Coach Jeff,
Ay,
kuha ka sa
sorry,
UPIS para yung bawian mo si Coach Gold.
bawian mo sila, no? Si Coach Gold. Oh, tama. That would be poetic justice para kay Coach Jeff. Kasi alam ko, humirit na siya before about that. But yeah, I think for me, it's about building that future. Especially without Kian Baclaan. It's really the point guard spot he has the talent but how will they perform in the coming UAAP? That's the question. Moving on, let's talk about the next team. So our next team is the UE Red Warriors. Let's start with you, Gab. If you were Coach Jack Santiago.
If I were Coach Jack Santiago, I will keep it simple. If I were Coach Jack Santiago, for the next 3 months, I will do a Sakuragi-like training for Precious Mamaway. 10,000 free throws in a span of maybe even less than a month. 1 month,
call.
make 10,000
Good
free
call.
throws. Second month, make another 10,000 free throws. And not just take make them Precious Mamaway. Because really, that's the difference for me between UE being competitive versus UE having a shot at the Final Four. Uh, Precious Momoi has to make his free throws because the ball is going to go to him a lot. We know he's surrounded by shooters. We know there's not a clear number one playmaker outside of him. It can come from anyone. Yung Cruz Dumont, Abate, Muling Tapang, Lingolingos, Pantones, whatever. No one's proven to be that number one playmaker. But we all know one thing. The ball is going to Precious Momoi as much as possible. And he's gonna score. He's gonna rack up numbers, but he's also gonna get fouled a lot. We've seen this since last season. He's number one in free throw attempts, and he's also, I think, in the bottom of free throw percentage. So I think that tells you all you need to know. It's similar story in this preseason. He gets a ton of free throw attempts, doesn't make them. Sometimes he does, but it's a once in a lifetime thing that he actually makes a good percentage of his free throws. And I've said this before. It's a momentum killer every time Precious Momoi misses free throws, because we've seen this. They go on big runs, make a ton of threes. Precious Momoi gets some easy points in the paint, then he gets fouled, misses 2 straight free throws, and misses another 2. And it pamatay sunog talaga sa mga run ng UE. So for me talaga, kulong mo si Precious Momoi, mag-coach Anzay mode ka, Coach Jack, and just focus on his free throw shooting.
I love
just
the
get him
reference.
to, di ba? Get him to what 60-70% man lang percentage. That is way good. I mean, if he attempts 10 free throw attempts a game, if he can make 6 or 7 of them, that would be big. He can't make 1 out of 9, 1 out of 10. Good gracious, it just can't happen. That's just for me. That's the biggest thing for UE. Maui-san, go.
That's the perfect answer actually. But alam mo yung problema kay Precious Momoi, inconsistent no? Paminsan decente yung free throw shooting niya. Like, he would have like days na 9 out of 12, ganun. Pero may days na wala talagang alat talaga eh. Yun yung problema eh. Maui, anything
More
you wanna add?
reps. Tama si Gab, more reps. Diba? If you want to be a consistent free throw shooter, if you want to be a consistent 3-point shooter, it's all about making those reps, diba? It cannot be hot and cold, diba? It's I agree with Gab. I think that could spell the difference for UE to become a Final Four contender. Diba? Those points should be free throws. It's called free throws, diba? It's and to a way, and in a way, it's detrimental to UE, diba? It's disrupting their fast offense. It's making them lose points. I'm sure Momoi is also getting frustrated, diba? If it's inconsistent on the line, especially since he shoots probably north of 10 a game. But if I were the coach, I would the thing that I would do. This is not just for season 87. I would assess why our players are leaving, diba? Kasi I think most of our fans from UP, most of our subscribers from UE keep on saying that they don't understand why all of our players are getting poached, diba? You can only outperform as much if you get new players every single year. For you to be able to be a consistent contender, you have to build a culture, you have to build a system. You have to be able to have a consistent team. It's one of the reasons why Ateneo, despite having that Coach Tab Baldwin system, is struggling right now. They have a lot of new players, diba? And UE has had that experience probably the past 3 or 4 seasons already, diba? Every year, their team gets depleted. I mean, you can say some of those players are one-and-done players, but there are players that are still in the UAAP or will be in the UAAP who were part of Coach Jack's team, diba? So I would probably try to ask some of my players, if there was no bad blood, why did you leave? Diba? If it's not all about money, then maybe they can find a way to be able to build a program better. Diba? Because from what we've seen so far, Coach Jack has been masterful when it comes to overachieving and kumbaga napipiga na yung players niya. He's really been able to maximize whatever lineup he has and surprise all of us for the past 3 seasons. Imagine him having a team that's been there for the past 2 or 3 seasons. that could probably mean that UP could be a contender, not just for the Final Four, but even for the finals or the championship. So I think that would be one of the things that they have to look at right now. Maybe same with Gab's suggestion with the other teams. Focus on your high school program also. Try to build up a program there and keep players. But at the end of the day, they have to look at the main reasons. I'm sure it's not just about money, diba? There has to be a way for them to be able to keep those top players. Sam.
Uh, Perfect segment dun sa sabi mo, Maui, it's not just about money. But I hate to make this about money, but my point was, if I were Coach Jack Santiago, I would convince SGA to sponsor the seniors team also. Um, I know we talked about this in the past na I think SGA is helping out or sponsoring yung juniors team ng UE, which is good. Sakto din sa sinabi mo, Maui, na it's building program from the juniors division, starting from the juniors division. But would also be helpful if they could get a bigger sponsor in the seniors team that could help them really maybe offer better programs or build something sa seniors team, no. SGA is there already in the juniors team, so why not pitch sponsoring the seniors team also. Something to think about for Coach Jack. Yun lang naman yung add ko. But I really love Gab's answer. Precious Momo way free throws. Hindi ko naisip yun. Moving on. Let's go to our second to the last team. Definitely not the last. The recent champions of Phil Oil. The University of Philippines Fighting Maroons. UP Fight. So let's start with you, Maui. If you were
Ano pa ba ang kailangan ng UP?
Mong gawin. Oo nga, exactly. Ano pa ba ang kailangan?
If I were Coach Goldwyn, I would stop recruiting. Hindi, joke. No, if I were the coach,
Wow! Gago to, ha?
no. If I were the coach if I were Coach Goldwyn, I would do the same with what I suggested for FPU. I think losing CJ Cancino was pretty big. If there's something that UP has shown this preseason, it's inconsistent shooting, diba? They've had dry spells despite being able to run the system perfectly, despite getting a lot of open shots. If you watch the LaSalle game, you saw that UP could still continue to struggle despite getting good looks, diba? I think they lack shooters. I think that Briones should have elevated his game to be that knockdown shooter, but unfortunately he hasn't. I would suggest that they should shoot 3-pointers. Every one of them should learn to shoot 3-pointers. I think that's the direction that they're taking, diba? Belmonte, Terculas, Alter, they've all been shooting 3-pointers now. Si Lopez, Francis Lopez has also been hitting at a better rate, I would say, this off-season. So I would continue. I would consider doing that same thing that I suggested for FEU. Lock them up in the gym and require them to make 200 to 300 3-pointers a day. And then they will be able to unlock another potential to their very stacked lineup. Gab, or Sam.
Okay, so I will go first. And, it's really hard to find something to say for this segment for the UP Fighting Mono. Just because, they're undefeated. They've been the first runner-up for the past 2 seasons. They're a stacked roster. They have so many good players, and they blow out teams in Pinoy Liga despite playing 2 different lineups. We've said this over and over. So what else can you say about the UP Fighting Monos? Well, I would focus on one player. If I were Coach Gold, I would give Francis Lopez more freedom to run the offense. Listen, UP is gonna have a ton of blowouts. Let's just be clear. I mean, we've seen this. They're gonna blow out a ton of teams. Maybe even probably even Ateneo. They're gonna blow out Ateneo. Although they didn't in the preseason matchup, but they're probably gonna blow out Ateneo and some other teams. So I would experiment. Give Francis Lopez more freedom to run offense, to run pick and roll, to play off of him. Similar to what Coach Topex did with KQ in season 86. You put the ball in his hands, you run the offense through him. To see the evolution of his game. I have no comment on Francis Lopez defensively. I love that he's a very good help defender. Just comes out of nowhere for block shots. Just imposes his athleticism on the defensive end. My problem with Francis Lopez, but my disappointment with Francis Lopez has been on the offensive end. I have not seen the development I wanted from Francis Lopez. Uh, I'm being critical of Francis Lopez because I expect a lot out of Francis Lopez. I've said this in our previous episode. He is the most athletic Filipino basketball player right now. Pro, amateur, semi-pro, whatever, he is the most athletic. I don't think you can find anyone who's as athletic as he is. Diba? I think you both would agree. Just find someone in the PBA or even in the MPBL who's as athletic as this guy. There's no one. So I think his career can is beyond the Philippine borders. It's beyond. It's either in the B League, KBL, the NBL, the EuroLeague. It's up there because of his athletic gifts. And for him to make it there, he has to learn how to not rely on his athleticism so much, especially on offense. That's what I see it. On offense, it's all he makes one move, pass out. One move, carry the ball, find the point guard. Most of his offense is usually through fast breaks or being set up by his point guards for alley-oops, or it's driving to one side and overwhelming his defender with his quick first step, long strides, and unreal leaping ability. That's his offense. And he sprinkles in a couple of threes here and there, but he's inconsistent when it comes to his 3-point shooting. As seen from his many games, teams are willing to leave him from the perimeter. Okay lang, you take a three, we won't let you get to the rim. The LaSalle game was very evident of that. So I do want him to evolve his game, no? Put more finesse in your game, not just rely on your athletic gifts. Because when you get to the pro level, you're not gonna face up against players who are usually less athletic than you are. You're gonna face up with guys who are stronger, bigger, faster, a lot more athletic, or even as athletic as you are. And you cannot play the way you're playing now in the pro leagues. I don't think you're gonna last. Um, that's it, no? I want to see him experiment more with Francis because I love Francis's potential. He can be a great international basketball player just because of his sheer athletic gifts. But right now on offense, I just don't see it. I don't see him lasting in pro league abroad if he continues his current trajectory. He's still young. I mean, he's what, 21? I think he's 21 or 22, uh, around that age. So there's still a ton of development there. But I want to see it. I want to see a lot more variety to his offensive game. So that's just for me. I'm very high on Francis. I want to see him star in the EuroLeague kung makaabot siya. Or even in the NBA kung kaya niya. But he has to start now. He has to start honing his game now. He's in his prime basketball years. 21, 22, yan na yun eh. He's reaching that point na. So, if he wants to make it to a big time pro league, he has to evolve his game more than what it is now. So, Sammy, Maui.
Yeah, obviously Francis Lopez was a top recruit, came in during the time that Tamayo left. So, related to that, for me, if I'm Coach Gold, I would go all in on my star players. This is medyo bitter pa rin coming from last season, but I still can't believe na JD Kagulangan didn't get to play as much as I expected nung finals against LaSalle. And we've seen how good JD Kagulangan is closing the game against LaSalle in the 2 games that they played during the Phil Oil competition. And I really like what I saw sa UP or with Coach Gold nung championship ng Phil Oil because he made a lot of adjustments coming in the second half when they were down by 20. He shortened the rotation. He didn't play Briones. He didn't play Belmonte as much in the second half. And he really relied on the stars. Relying on Francis Lopez to defend KQ, relying on JD Kagulangan and Jerry Abadiano to take over the game. So I like that. I'm happy to see that, and I hope sa UAAP, if I'm Coach Gold, I have to go all in na on my stars. It can't be like last season. I don't know. Maybe he has his reasons, but even nung preseason, he's done a lot of experimentation. I am sorry, but I mentioned this in previous episodes. I'm not as high on Belmonte. I know you guys like mentioned na I think Maui mentioned na they're really trying to get Belmonte going, so they rerun plays for him. But um, I'd rather play other guys. Torculas, Francis Lopez. I know you have a very deep and talented rotation that you can play 2 teams, Team A, Team B, and still go undefeated. But Coach Gold, you have to stick to the top guys. Kasi it's championship or bust basically. For a team like this that's so stacked, that's so talented, it's championship or bust. So, kahit I know he's managing egos, he's managing talents, but you have to go all in. Kasi if you don't win the championship, then wala din. Maui, you said it last episode. No one will remember second place, 'di ba? Sa basketball or sa UAAP. So, yun lang. If I'm Coach Code, I hope he can go all in and we see, and this is the last year of JD, by the way. So, we see more of JD, especially in the finals. Okay, moving on to our last team, the UST Growling Tigers. The could be a surprising team also. And to get us started, Maui. Dahil ikaw ang Mr. UST.
The UST
If you were
Whisperer,
coach,
si Maui Yap.
the UST Whisperer. If you were Coach Pido, what would you do?
Mahilig sa wings all wings, 'di ba? If I were Coach Pido, 'di ba? I would join a lot more competition. I think at this point what they need is reps. You cannot surprise in the UAAP much like he did maybe nung 2008 or 2006. It's all about reps. He has the personnel, he has the talent, he has probably a shot at having the best backcourt at the UAAP. That's a big thing, especially since we've seen UP, di ba, have a ton of talent in their backcourt. They have Paranada, who was a star at UE. They have Padrigao, who was a mythical team member with Ateneo and who has a championship. And they have Caballero, who's undoubtedly been one of the top guards in the UAAP for the past 3 years. I think that they have to bank on that, yung experience and talent ng backcourt rotation nila. Another thing is they have to decide on their FSA. I would have to say whatever they decide, they have to decide based on their system, I guess. It has to be based on the strengths of the guards. In my opinion, they have to prioritize those 3. I think they will go as far as Padrigao, Caballero, and Paranada will go. Paranada really struggled a lot, I think, this off-season, being a backup guard. Portsky hasn't been playing at a mythical team member level. Caballeros even playing at a lower level too. So I think they have to find ways to get these 3 going for them to be able to be consistent in the UAAP. And I think one of the main things that they have to do is to join my tournaments. Diba? They have to get reps. Everyone has to get reps. They have to be able to practice, get enough practice that matters for their players. Diba? If there's a season that they can look at, it's last season when they decided not to join tournaments, diba? They have to join a lot more tournaments. They have to train not just against UAP players, maybe abroad, diba? I mean, they have the money to be able to train abroad. They have to follow the format They have to follow the status quo, what Ateneo, UP, and Dasal has been doing this past few years, diba? It's what's working in the UAAP. It's replicable for them kasi they have the resources, they have the talent. So yeah, definitely just get more reps. Join more tournaments. That's one of the main things that I would do if I were Coach Pido. Summing up.
Okay, I will go first. So, from what I've seen from the UST Growling Tigers this preseason, and I'm happy that I finally got to see them in a preseason tournament. What kills them in games is one turnovers and some lack of defense. They do a lot of mistakes on the defensive end. I think this can all be solved, and in line with what Maui said, I think they need more reps talaga. They need chemistry. Especially that they introduce a new player towards the end of the preseason, si Amelacido. They're gonna introduce Zayn Mahmoud once he gets here, and I expect he will play for season 87, given he's a big time recruit and he's a big man. So
Baka parang H.A. Maruli yan, Gab.
Baka nga. Baka nga. Yeah, it's the same. I actually had the same answer as Maui. They need to play. They need to gel more together. I don't see the instant chemistry yet with Paranada and Fortsky and Caballero. Parang they're still feeling each other out. You can see it on the court, no? Sometimes they don't know their spots. They don't know who's gonna cut. They don't know where players are gonna be. Very evident pang kay Fortsky. Sometimes he makes such crazy passes that they end up to no one. I think that has to come with reps as well. It's kind of weird because he's been there for a year already. Well, hindi naman a year. Siguro less than a year or going towards a year na. But yeah, they need to spend more time playing together because it's really gonna be a perimeter-oriented game for the UST Growling Tigers. I don't think they're gonna battle inside that much. Well, maybe except for si Christian Manaytay with his awesome footwork. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of perimeter-oriented offense. I think they need to play faster. Although that's not Fortsky's style, but I do think they need to play faster, take advantage of their long wings, take advantage of their guards. I think that's also a reason why si Paranada is struggling. They're playing slower. In UE played fast and a ton of threes. They spread out the floor, and that helped yung Paranada to get his
fast
bucket.
and space, di ba? Fast and space.
Oh. So that's not how UST plays, which is the reason why I think si Paranada is struggling. He has to be a real point guard to set the offense, which wasn't his role in UE. Si Fortsky, I'm not worried. Just a bit of gelling with Nick Caballero, with Ice Danting, with Leland Estacio, and I think he'll be fine. No, we've seen him have a great connection with Steve C. Tongkara, and I hope among the two FSAs, I do like si Tongkara more. He's flashed some mid-range shooting.
Same.
I do think that's
same.
Diba?
Bawat Tongkara.
Kung if you want to be in a giving mood, UST, baka gusto nyo ibigay sa amin yung isa pang FSA sa Ateneo. I mean, you see, wala kami sentro. Please, Tongkara.
Hindi na nila gagawin yun, di ba? They have to have two at all times with what happened last year.
I'm just joking.
Oo nga. Tama.
But yeah, yun. More reps. They really need to cut down on turnovers. They turn it over a lot. Sammy, go ahead.
Yeah, yun ang challenge sa UST, no? It's the team that we saw the least compared to the other teams. So it's very hard to really comment on them, and it's a relatively new team still compared to how the team looked from last year. So I think siguro just to comment, if I were Coach Pido, I would embrace change more. Last year we saw Coach Pido, like the usual Pido system or the usual Pido style. is very different from when he was coaching UST from before. And I'd like to see some changes in UST's offense, which to be fair, we're starting to see now, especially when he parang it seems like he's rotating yung coaching duties, 'di ba? Nung preseason, I think the different coaches of UST were taking assistant coaches of UST were taking turns barking the instruction. So I like that. Um See, Coach Pido also has, notoriously been very traditional with certain views. For example, I think nag-comment siya about like foreign coaches ba yun or FSAs before. I think last season nag-comment din siya to limit fill foreign players to 5, something like that, if I remember correctly.
Ginagawang
He
PBA.
has to
Grabe.
Oh, exactly. Ginagawa niya PBA, 'di ba? I think there is a rule for fill foreign players in the PBA. I think he has to embrace change. For him to compete in the current UAAP, I think Coach Pido has to embrace change. But we're starting to see that. So, kudos naman to Coach Pido and the rest of the team. Yun lang siguro yung ma-add ko doon. Yun lang.
Kalbogang.
I think that's it.
Wala pang
Maui, may
kalbogang.
question, may comment ka? Wala
Ah,
pang kalbogang.
Yeah.
Ako meron, actually. Same thing with what I said with Jake Figueroa a few episodes ago. They need space for Nick Cabanero and Fortsky to operate, and even si Kyle Paranada. I don't think you can survive with having two bigs like si Manaytay and si Tungkara or si Osang at the same time. There's a spacing problem. Yun yung isa pang na yung nakita ko with UST. Sometimes they don't create enough space for their creators. They have a ton of creators. Estacio, Paranada, Danting, Padrigao, yung Cabanyero, a ton of creators. Pero may spacing problem ko minsan because Coach Pido likes playing two bigs. Is either si Laure, Manaytay, Crisostomo, Tongkara. Crisostomo can shoot. Manaytay does not shoot threes yet, although I think he can. Si Tongkara does not really shoot or space the floor. Same with si Osang. Same with si Eco Laure. They don't space the floor. But he plays two bigs at the same time. There's a spacing problem there. I would explore more spacing. If you're gonna play Tongkara, don't play Manaytay or a Crisostomo with him. Play si Asido. I like Asido. He's long. He's not very athletic, but he has a good stroke. Maybe go that route. I do think yun nga, yung sabi mo nga sa amin, embrace change. Do away with the two big thing. The two bigs lineup. It's not modern basketball. 4 out, 1 in. Get more space for your creators. Have more space for them to operate. We've seen Nick Cabanero be successful with this. I think season 85, di ba? When it was just him, they spaced the floor for him. It was just Adama Faye and shooters with Nick Cabanero, and he had a ton of success with that. So I do think that he needs to get more lineups like that, just because they have so many talented perimeter players who can shoot and can create offense. Pace and space the floor, yung Coach Pido. Yung, as to your point, Sammy, embrace change. This is not 2006 anymore. This is a new era of basketball, and we need to adapt.
Modern basketball.
This is not the
Okay.
PBA.
This is
This
not
is
the
not the
PBA.
PBA.
Wow.
This is not a PBA.
Speaking
Oh,
of
but
PBA, congrats to
congratulations.
Meralco, by the way. Congrats to Meralco
Congratulations
for
to
winning the
Meralco.
championship.
Especially Chris Newsome. Di ba? For
Oo
staying
nga,
in
oo
Meralco
nga.
all these years.
Oh,
And
okay.
San Miguel was the heavy favorite, obviously, di ba? I think they dominated the eliminations.
Yeah.
So, okay, yun na yun. Bago pa tayo ma-derail sa PBA talk, that's it for part 2 of our If You Were the Coach episode. If you like this episode, please comment down below or click the like button. Let us know that you like this episode. It's just so that we can continue to make episodes like this. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, share with your friends. A few more months before UAAP season 87 starts. So we'll definitely cover more content, talk more about the UAAP. Um, until the season starts. We'll see you again next time. See
We're
you.
almost at 2,000, guys. Get a
Oo
few more
nga.
likes in there.
Patulong naman. Patulong naman.
Ay,
Bye-bye.
a few more subs. A few more subs in there, man. A few more subs. Come on.